Welcome everyone to another Pixelated review. I'm your host, Pixelated Jordan. Now, I was on a little binge, I guess you could say, of military sci-fi. Checking out Unity Wars and now Drop Trooper. Now, like many of you, I like my military shooters in video games. Halo is the main one for me, obviously. And I love Halo, and I think that's some great military sci-fi action, right? And I get to Unity Wars, and I'm like, okay, it's a little bit more upgraded military, I guess you could say. But it's okay, I can deal with that. I can see this being a video game. Then we get to Drop Trooper. Oh my god. It straight up just drops literally both these military sci-fis into the ground in the terms of military. I wasn't expecting that as much as I probably should have. I mean, it's literally in the name, military sci-fi. Probably should expect military to be a part of it. Not just boom, boom, bang, and then we're already there fighting the bad guys and that's it. No, this goes way more deeper than I kind of expected. So, it was a trip for me the first time reading this and at least checking it out for the first time. And I'm going to review this in a different kind of way. Basically what I'm going to do, the first 4 books I actually got on Amazon. They had it for like a deal and all that stuff. So I was like, I'm going to check that out. And the first 4 deals with basically the war arc with the Tawny. So we'll just put that in together with one, other than putting them in a separate kind of category of like kind of how I was doing before. Mostly because I haven't finished this one all together, but I feel like separating in that way makes a little bit more sense to me. It does have different character arcs here and there in all the books, but I feel like tying them all together to get them just the gist is there, so that makes sense. And then I read 2 after that, and then I'm waiting right now for the series to be finished. So that's what we're doing right now. So yeah. So without further ado, let's start this review. Drop Trooper, Book 1 and 4. So let's start off with something pretty simple. I think overall this was a pretty fun thing. In Unity Wars, remember how I complained about the combat being really slow because they just take every step and every movement, at least as far as the first book goes. In this one, it's mitigated to just getting to the action, and that's something I gotta like. Rick Partlow, something like that. I can't remember how you pronounce his name. We're calling him Rick. Rick just knows what we want to read. We want to get to the action. We want to see the action. We want to be there in the action. He gets that on the dot, and I appreciate that. Like, seriously, man. Like, unlike some sci-fis I've read in the past where they're just constantly talking about their technology and how it's just rammed down your throat and telling you how it works and all that stuff, when simply you just kind of just need to just go along with it, And I like that. Rick Partlow just really got into it, just understanding what we want to see, what with the combat and all that good stuff. The other thing is too, training, unlike, some books I may be mentioning, they do not talk about training too much in this book. Or there's training in there, but we skip past all that so we can get to the juicy bits. And I appreciate that. Like, my god, going through from training, and then finally we get to the action, and then we'll get to wait for a sequel that's still waiting on, and then we can finally have some fun. This one, no. We start off a little bit in that little training area, at least as far as the first book, and then we go to the fun actiony bits where we get to learn these characters and their benefit and their we call it the strengths and all that stuff, and it's great, it's good. Then we get to the second one, which builds upon that. We lose characters and stuff like that. It's good. And even when he gets an upgrade, our protagonist, when he gets not an upgrade, what do you call it? A promotion. There's training for that, but we skip, again, the training, and I appreciate that, because so much of this stuff, like where we have to be trained, we gotta train about this, train this, we have to know about that, where simply we can just experience it. And that's something I appreciate. We know he got that training, now we get to see that training unfold. Now, sometimes that's some people may say that's a bad side because we can't see it, unfold naturally if we see him grow and then we see it in the field. And that's an argument to be had, but I think generally if you're wanting to have an action, book or story of any kind, you should be able to implement that smoothly in there where we don't have to worry about that little bit of the action or the side, I guess you could call it side plot of training to mitigate our action for later. Can it exceed growth? Kind of, but I think overall Rick really does a good job at growing his characters in this book, and I really appreciate that. Now, one of the things is that the book itself too, it's just these first 4 books are about the Tolani War, and it's really good. The Tolani War is great. It's fantastic. It's good, and I appreciate it. But there's a lot of things I can sit there and argue. However, the arguments I present come from a person that doesn't have a military background. So, like that being said, it's hard for me to complain about it because this is a military sci-fi book and it's within the name. So I can't complain that it's a military sci-fi because it is a military sci-fi. So, let me get you down for some of the things I can say. But one thing for sure, I think everyone should probably know, when it comes down to the war or battle scenes, Rick really nails it in the end, the aftermath. The fight scenes are fun, they're energetic, they're just powerful, and you feel every hit and punch afterward. It's really good. Though it's the aftermath that gets you when the loss of lives are just big and they're bad, you feel that. I can't say any other book made me feel bad for a death unless it's some main character who died or sacrificed himself like that. But no, this is hard. It's hardcore, hey, these are good people and they all died in this war. And you can feel that, that impact on the main character and just how it just drags down. And it hurts. Honestly, man, oh my God, you feel it. The pain that these characters go through in any kind of military, it's sad, and Rick really makes you feel that. And it's it's depressing. I guess it's a better term. It is depressing. And that's just kind of what war is, and he holds no punches on that. I kind of wish I was prepared for that. So for your sake, if you don't mind that but you want to experience that, go for it. Just be warned that it hits kind of hard. He really gets you in there, and man, this is some people probably. So yeah, that is something to take care of, or just to remember, of course. Now, the other thing is, and this is where I'm saying the military part, I really shouldn't even complain about, but I think I just gotta say it, because it kind of bugged me narratively in some instances. So this is told in the first person view, so that's fine and dandy, and I understand that. But there is some things where I feel that's a little bit too military, and I think gets in the way of the whole narrative plot sometimes, or some just extra load nuggets for your readers to chew on. Some of the bits I feel like it's unnecessary, but even then I understand it's military, and I can't complain about it, but it bugs me because I know that's how the military probably works. I think. I don't know. And I'm pretty sure even then, Rick took out a lot of other things that is traditional military, but even then, some of these other ones, which kind of bug me a little bit, but I don't know. Like I said, I don't have military background, but I'm pretty sure he took a lot out already just so we can enjoy it better. And then these little things kind of bug me a little bit. So here's an example. There was this one scene he was talking about how, we're all dying out there, and you guys don't have the ships nearby or something like that. And he's looking at information to see how close a ship could jump to a planet or something like that, right? And a lot of the information is just classified to him because basically he's a grunt in the whole kind of military thing. He's kind of just a grunt. And he has no access to it, which is just a simple question of how close can it just go by? How close can a ship actually be close to a planet by jumping or something like that? And he was just trying to figure it out. He was just curious, you know? And I don't think that's a bad thing to find out, you know? I was like, okay, yeah, I'm kind of curious about that too. Some engineer who knows about this stuff, he was just casually asking him these questions like, hey man, how about this, what is this like? Oh, the guy just spills it off like it's nothing, like it's just casual conversation, say how close they can get, or how maybe they can do something different. And then one of the leaders just blows up on both of them saying, oh, that's the information you're supposed to know about. And they take him to, like, I don't know, a military jail or something like that to talk about it, saying it's invasion of privacy or, I don't know, military things. I don't know. I was like, why is this a thing? Like, it's like, oh, it's security purposes. For an alien race that cannot speak our languages. Like, that is just, I don't get it. Like, that's what's something that bugged me, but I sit there going, that's probably what military does. So it's like, can I really complain about it? No, but it bugs me that it's a thing in the narrative because I feel like it's just sidetracked the story that it didn't need to, you know? I don't know. Then what was the other one? Oh yeah, that's right. This one was the big one. There was a Tallnee they captured. Rick, main character, just decided not to follow orders, and that was always going to be consequence. All right, got it. But they captured a Tallnee, and this Tallnee, even like they translated, like they had this little translator to like for them to speak. And he kind of pointed out, he's like, yeah, if I don't cooperate with you guys either, and I go back, I'm gonna die either way. So it's either or for me. So I might as well just do this. And he helps them out to escape. Now, here's the thing. Now I was sitting there, oh cool, we got a Tallnee guy. Now we could actually learn a little bit more about their information. Because beyond this point, the Tallnee wasn't really talked about. They were treated very alien. Like, I mean, like to the point we could like, there was no explanation about most of their tactics or how they live and all that stuff. It's very alien. And that was, you know, that was part of the intriguing part about the Tallnee. Then we capture a Tallnee, and I sat there going, all right, now we're gonna get some backstory on like the Tallnee and maybe how they work, how they function, because this one's actually cooperating with us. You wanna know what we got? Nothing. We got 0 things. No explanation of what happened to the Tallnee. There was like, we could just assume that, oh, because the main character is a grunt and he also disobeyed orders, he's not allowed to listen or talk to the Tallnee or something like that, you know? And it's like, but can we just know about it, like, from the reader's perspective? But no, we don't. And it bugs me in the sense that I understand that this is something like, you know, the military probably will do. Probably some specialists and all that stuff will interrogate the Tallnee, and then they'll just tell the higher-ups about X, Y, and Z stuff. Or even if it did cooperate, I don't know. But the point is, I sat there just listening to it, and I'm like, we could have just got so much information from the readers to identify with the Tallnee, or to get something from the Tallnee that's a little bit less alien. And it bugged me. And I know I shouldn't, but it did. So like, ugh. Military, right? Am I right? Yeah. Like I said, I don't think I can complain about that, but it's something that just kind of got to me, you know? Like I said, those 2 military things that did happen, I was like, that bugs me. Kind of feels like it takes away from the narrative a little bit. And then when it comes down to, it's honestly like realistic treatment of death in the war. Oh, that drags. So it's a hard bitter pill to swallow, especially if you take a lot of that in with the treatment of death after the battle, and then, you know, those little military BSs I like to call. And it kind of just rubs me the wrong way, because it's like, you want to enjoy the story, and then sometimes some of this stuff just happens, and it's just like, you know, and like I said, it's not even bad. It's just like, it's just not my cup of tea. I think it's the best way I can explain it. But overall, like, these 4 books are packed with military sci-fi goodies, I guess you could say. Just, man, it just got crazy. Like, the battles were awesome. The aftermath sucks because I don't like feeling depressed and all that stuff. And whenever some military higher up or BS kind of just happens, it kind of just drags me away from the story. And I think that's more have to do with just me not having a military background. That's what I think. But overall, in the first 4 books, it's all about the Tallnee War. And the Tallnee, I'm pretty sure, are a reference to the Japanese in World War II. Some of it kind of feels like it, like when I when I was thinking about it, like from high school with the Japanese and what they did in World War II. It kind of felt a little similar, but yeah, it wasn't bad at all. It's just that, yeah, that's something I just point out. But the Tawny were cool though. I did like Tawny. I wish we got a little bit more information beforehand and all that good stuff, but we didn't. So can't really complain about that. So, and all the military things I don't like, I can't really complain about it. Even after the war stuff, like, I can't really complain about it. So, but overall, I could definitely say the first 4 books of Tawny War was impactful. It was good, and I'm pretty sure all the feelings I'm feeling is what Rick planned for. So, really good. So if you're looking for a military sci-fi, at least in this first 4 books, I guarantee you're going to enjoy yourself, especially if you love military sci-fi. Drop Trooper 5 and 6. As far as these 2 extra books I checked out, it's definitely way different from what you got into in the first 4 books, where the first 4 books was just the war itself, and it was good. And these ones, it's the aftermath, and it's leading to something a bit bigger, or maybe a second Tawny War, possibly. But basically the first one, the fifth one, that's what I should say, the 5th one, is basically just about, they live in a nice little colony place, farmland, stuff like that, and conspiracy stuff, someone Tawny, and then there's something bigger going on. Alright, cool. They got bored of their civilian life, and they want to go to, back to fighting something, I guess. The 6th one delves deeper into that, and they do use the Drop Trooper suits, which, by the way, I did forget to mention it. The Drop Trooper suits are just awesome. They really are cool. They use that from here and there, but they're not obviously prevalent like they were in the war. But when they are used, they're pretty cool. Just in the 6th one, they kind of do like an investigation. It kind of feels like it's like the cartel almost, a little bit. Like I don't know, the way they're being treated, at least in this little planet, I kind of feel like the cartel. But other than that, there's something going on in that. But the reason I'm not checking it out after this, I'm just waiting for the series to be finished so I can check it out fully. And that's kind of where I'm at right there. Like, once the whole series is done, I'm going to come back to it. And it's not saying it's not bad or anything. These ones are just like, I feel like there's something bigger going on. It just feels like nothing but setup right now. And if you don't like that in the MCU, then you probably won't like this afterwards. After the highest highs of what, the first 4 books did in Drop Trooper, these ones are definitely lower than that. They're not bad by writing style or anything like that. It's just they're not as good as what came before with the high stakes and just combat overall. And that's about it though. Yeah, so, well, let's get started with the overall. Overall, I like this series. It's solid. It's really just impactful when it comes to its action and just how it treats its characters. And when it comes down to it, that's something really good. The Drop Troopers themselves as a unit, and just, they're awesome. I really like their suit designs on the covers all the time. Now, one thing I did notice, it says it's faceless, but it's from the art, it looks like they have a face. But I think that's supposed to be the way it's look. I'm not too sure, but the way that it looks like via the art looks awesome. And that's kind of how I imagine that's how they look most of the time. Anyways, but the story is solid, especially the Tawny War. It's really good. And afterwards, where it's heading to could be even better. I don't know yet. Like I said, it just felt like the first 2 was just a setup to something that's going to come later, which sounds cool. And I don't mind that. And I really appreciate how the technology was treated in this one rather than other sci-fi. It just really flows with the story much better. Even though there's some military BS that I may not like personally, and that's more of like just me not having a military background, I believe, this is still solid. Just remember those, just how they treat death after a war, after a battle. It hits hard. Just be prepared for it, because I wasn't prepared for it, and I just felt sad. It's just like, I don't know if I want to continue now, but I think that's kind of the thing, Rick was definitely planning on to make us feel something. And if he makes you feel something, that's a solid writer in my book. The definitely overall, this story, the first 4 stories, great. And the ones after, still solid. Just not as great or big or how it was before. So, I guess you could say, for the Drop Troopers series, I will give it a rating of... Check it out. Hi, I want to thank you guys all for watching. I really do appreciate it. So, yeah, if you guys want to check any other books I've read and all that stuff, here you go. I got plenty more here, and I hope for more in the future. So, yeah, thank you again for watching, and I hope you guys all have a great day.